Welcome to Learning Photography with Duck. Here's your host, Duck.
Okay, all right. Welcome once again to another edition of Learn Photography with Duck. As always, I am your duck, and I am your duck. I am the duck. All right. Well, you know what I mean. We had a good conversation just before pressing the record button. I wish I had started recording earlier, but there were a few things I wanted to get through. So anyway, but Bill actually gave me our topic of discussion for today. And Bill's concern is about artificial intelligence and how it operates within the photographic community. There were a lot of points that were brought up, and Bill, at any point, if you want to jump in, but I'm going to try to see if I can answer some of the questions that you brought up previously as I talk about some of these things. But I want you to understand that what I'm going to be saying is pretty much my opinion. And let me tell you, my opinion has changed somewhat as I've started using some of this AI software. All right. As some of you understand, my background is in graphic design and illustration. So when this, here, let me switch over to this. When the artificial intelligence thing started popping up, it was Chat GPT and these kind of like text-based AI robots. And they go back quite a long way with, I remember Facebook implementing a very rudimentary form of this with like, the little chat, the chat bot that they had on some of the pages where you can ask the owner of the page, you can ask a question, and based on the question, the chat bot, had a list of kind of like, the most common topics that would get flagged for your page, and then it would kick back a pre-designed answer. Okay, so like I said, this is going back way, wow, I don't know, 10 years or so, and it was very rudimentary. But we've seen AI kind of take over in a big way just within the past few years. But if we really think about it, AI has been with us for a long time. How many of you got into robocalls where, you get this friendly voice and it's, talking to you, and then you start answering back and then you realize, oh, this is not a human I am talking to. All right. So it's been around. All right. But what's scary is now we got into generative AI, where the AI model was taking, wasn't necessarily just pulling the cues and giving a canned response, but taking cues and giving a unique generated response that wasn't canned. All right. Because it was trained to recognize certain verbal words and how they go together, and then pulled information from its data source in order to answer it. And if you recall, some of the answers were quite hilarious because they just had no basis in reality. It was just making stuff up. All right, and then we got into the generative AI illustrations. And if you think back about 5-6 years ago, they were they were pretty scary. They were gross looking. They were very excuse me, very simplistic. It looked like a child drew it with Windows Paint. It was that bad. But then somebody decided, oh, you know what? We're going to do something unethical, and we're going to train this model on actual artwork by actual artists, and we're just not going to tell anybody. And then it just pissed off the artistic community, because how dare you take money from us by stealing our work so that anybody with any skills on a keyboard can do the work that takes us hours, if not days, to do. So it became a big controversy. But that was only the things that we saw in the headlines. The underlying structure, excuse me, the underlying structure has been building up since the 60s. My mother had a degree in psychology, and I remember in the 80s, she got hired by a company out of Avon to work on artificial intelligence programs way back then. So we've had AI for a long time. It's just now we've had the ability to really, really see it flourish and take off. All right. Then we have programs like our beloved Photoshop and Lightroom and all the other, editing programs that are using artificial intelligence to help with the editing. All right. And we've seen just within the past couple of years, this AI technology being infused into our editors. Smart masks. We just click a button and it says, select my sky. And we have a beautiful mask of just our sky. And if you remember the first time, it failed miserably. Sometimes it would grab a building. Sometimes it would miss whole areas that had clouds in it. And forget around any kind of trees, it failed miserably. It still has trouble around trees, but it has gotten so much better. All right, now we can say, select a subject. Now we could even go as far as make a mask just for the eyes, just for the lips, just for the skin tone. Oh, my voice. And, what it's doing, is not anything that we wouldn't do manually. The only difference is it now speeds up our workflow by doing the mundane work, which is what, technology should do. It takes the mundane work from us in order so we can be more creative, all right? Which I'm sure everybody here has no argument against. If I can make a mask with a click of a button to cut down my editing time by, 15, 20 minutes, by all means, absolutely. But now, the latest iteration of Photoshop has introduced generative text AI through Firefly, where now, for one, if you don't like something, you can just draw a little marquee around it and poof, it's gone. All right, which is great, because previously, what did you have to do? You had to, source some kind of asset to use to kind of hide what was there. So if you wanted to remove a person out of the background of your scene, you had to go through your library of images and hope you caught, on an off chance, maybe the same background without that person there. And then you just take that and you pop it in and you're good to go. But it required some manual ability with the software. Now we just draw a little marquee around and it says, hey, be gone. And AI figures out what should be behind this thing that the user wants gone, and it generates a new background, and voila. Okay, which is still great. No issues there. All right, because it's not something that we wouldn't do manually ourselves to begin with. But now we have generative AI where we can type in and says, give me a building right here. And it's going to put a building where there was no building. And now we get into a couple of problems. Well, where did the information for this building come from? Was it stolen from somebody else? Did somebody else's hard work go into training this AI? All right. And to be fair, Adobe, really came out and say, hey, we'll let you know. We trained it on the thousands and thousands and thousands of images that we have in our stock library that was put into there from our contributors. And if you read the fine print, we can do whatever we want with those images. Is it fair? Some people will argue. Okay.
You're saying that Adobe is saying they can do anything with the image?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
Meaning, if I let's say I take a picture of downtown New Haven and put it on the cloud, on the Adobe cloud.
Oh, no. This is stock. Stock contributors, photographers that use the Adobe stock, they upload their images. Okay. Adobe can say, hey, we're going to use this in our marketing. We're going to use this to train our AI model, whatever they want.
In that case, it's up to the person contributing to read the fine.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. All right. Now, the thing is, the fine print is vague enough, all right, where, when it was originally written with no thought of AI. It just, we have access to your photos. We can do whatever we want with them. All right. It just so happened that the need came up that it was used to train the AI model for the generative AI. And that's something that was not foreseen by anybody on either side. So, a lot of photographers say, oh, that's not fair. You're using my content, unfairly to make you rich, and we're not getting compensated. But on their side, they're saying, well, we do have the right to use your images however we see fit. Okay. And so, yeah, there a lot of people jumped ship. A lot of people bailed. But by then, as they say, the harm was already done. Okay. But at least Adobe, you can kind of excuse Adobe. All right. Because they did not go like ChatGPT into the ether, all right, and say, oh, we're just going to scour the internet for images, and we're going to use those images without anybody's consent to train our models. All right? Nobody, if I posted something on Facebook, ChatGPT came across and says, oh, we want to use that photo to train our AI model. But we're not going to let Duck know that we're doing it. That, in my opinion, is very scummy, because you are just disregarding everybody's intellectual property. At least Adobe had access to people's had permission to use people's intellectual property. ChatGPT and DALL-E and all those others did not. They just stole it. And that's the biggest point of contention. All right. So that was the initial point of contention with generative AI. All right. And it still hasn't been settled. There's a lot of new lawsuits coming against DALL-E and AI and all these other companies that use, those AI models for their business model. And we'll see what happens with those because they're still in litigation. But now we're running into a new problem, and that is who owns the copyright. And that's up in the air because one, they haven't figured out, who owned the copyright, who should be compensated for the breach of copyright in the first place. All right. And because these models are using kind of like a conglomerate of different people's work, as their model, and what they're generating isn't quite it's not like saying, okay, here's a picture of Mickey Mouse. I'm going to put it into my photo and use it as is. It's not that clear cut. Okay. It's like, oh, here's a picture of Mickey Mouse. Here's a picture of 1,000 other mice. Some of them look like Mickey Mouse, some of them don't. And I'm just going to create something that kind of resembles a Mickey Mouse and spit it out. All right. And then, now the question is, who's got the rights to that generated art? Is it the keyboard warrior, or is it the original copyright holder? Well, in the case of certain things like the Mickey Mouse, okay, where it's not the image but the likeness of that is protected, Disney has no problems with upholding their intellectual property rights. And if you can generate as many Mickey Mouses as you want, you could even print them out and put them up on your wall, turn them into coloring books. Okay. But as soon as you sell it, you're stepping on intellectual property rights. Okay. And you can't copyright it because obviously Disney has the copyright on Mickey Mouse. All right. But that's with something that's very recognizable. What about something that's not recognizable, like a building? All right. It's just some generic building that the AI just put together. That's just a bunch of glass and steel and concrete that kind of resembles a building, but it's not modeled on, and you can't look at the building and say, oh yeah, that's the Sears Tower. Oh yeah, that's the Empire State Building. You can't, all right, because it's just a generic conglomerate of pixels. Who owns the copyright to that? Well, the current status, and of course this can change down the road. The current status is, in order for something to be copyright, there needs to be a human element in the creation. Meaning you have to put in your blood, sweat, and tears into making that. All right. So in fine arts, it's very clear cut. If you pick up a brush and put it to canvas, you own that copyright. If you press that button on your camera and you take it and you develop it in Photoshop and then print it out, you own that copyright. All right. If you carve that piece of stone, you own the copyright. But if all you do is type in some words and let a computer create a finished piece of artwork, well, the computer's not human. So a computer cannot hold a copyright. And the human did no work to create that piece of artwork. Some may argue, oh, well, they typed in the key phrases. That's not work. That's just programming the computer to spit something out. anybody can do that. All right. So the current status is if it is computer generated, there is no copyright. And this just opens up all kinds of the wild, wild west, I guess you can call it. Because now all of a sudden, anybody can use AI art for anything, any way, shape, form, or another. Okay? And, okay, that's fine. The people who are the true artists are complaining that says, well, now you're putting me out of business. That could be argued. Okay? It will put you out of business if what you are targeting are the bottom feeders. Because it's the bottom feeders that are going to go to the AI generative models to spit out artwork for their stuff. All right. The companies that value uniqueness are not going to hire an AI artist to type away and come up with some AI generated piece of artwork. And on top of that, what's generated is not high quality to begin with. So it's not like you can really use it for, anything of quality. All right. But like I said, it's still the Wild West, and it's still, open for discussion. All right. And we're going to see it. But the fact still lies that we can go into Photoshop, we can type in a few keywords, and we can say, give me a picture of a statue. All right. Borrowing Bill's example. All right. Where somebody, what was it? Submitted a photo of a statue. It was supposed to be a real location, but the statue didn't look anything like the real statue because
Right. He did that as to show an example.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, and to be honest, your club and your associate club are not the only ones. All right. I belong to PPA, the Professional Photographers of America. I have friends who are members of the American Society of Media Photographers, ASMP. Okay. And even in these top tier groups, the discussion of what to do with AI art is in the forefront, especially when it comes to competitions. What do we allow? What do we not allow? All right. And the discussion it's a new discussion because this is something that we've never really been presented with within our immediate history. All right. And the reason I say that is because we have come across this topic under a different wrapper, going back, 20, 30, about 30 years. All right. When digital photography replaced analog photography. Now, all of a sudden, we can take pixels and we can manipulate it in this brand new program called Photoshop. And we can create things that were never there. Because now we can take a piece of this image and a piece of this image, combine them together to create a whole new different image. And suddenly people were doing composites for artistic value. Okay. That house was never there on this pristine beach. All right. That little grass hut. All right. I added that in. I took that picture of the grass hut somewhere else. I took this picture of the beach here and I married the two together and I created a whole new, unique, individual image. And the argument was, well, that house did not exist on that beach, therefore it's an illegitimate image. Okay. But you see how that has changed over time. People are doing that kind of compositing all the time. They're putting a moon behind a tree line where there was no moon. They're changing a dress from red to blue. Okay. It's common. We see it all the time. And in commercial photography, you know, and fashion photography, and advertising photography, we see it all the time. That model did not look like that at all. Okay. She had a little bit here, and maybe she had a little bit here. Okay. That was tucked and shaded and dodged and burned, you know, to meet that ideal. Okay. So we have had manipulation. All right. Now, if we go even further before that, when people decide, came up with the idea, hey, I can take negative A and negative B, superimpose them, and come up with an image. It's still analog, an image that has nothing to do with what I originally photographed. So we have had compositing, in our lexicon of tools for a long time. Okay. It's just now it's easier. All right. All we got to do is marquee a little section and say, hey, I want to add a little tiger right there. Okay. I want to, put a party hat on the dog. All right. And it's, instead of us supplying the asset, it's generating it from somewhere, from that trained model that says, hey, this is what a party hat's supposed to look like on a dog, and we're going to add it in. Okay. So compositing in that respect, it's not new. The way we're doing it now is new. The way we're doing it now has a little underlayer of ickiness, because really, how did you train that model? All right. It was a little underhanded in how you trained that model, where you're getting your sources for that composite. Okay. So that's the issue. It's not the issue of whether you can composite or not. The issue is how you're compositing it by removing more of the work away from the creator and putting it onto the machine. Okay. Where's the balance? Okay. If it is as simple as typing in party hat on a dog, okay, where is the artistry there? Well, part of it is in the vision that goes into the decision of, I want a party hat on this dog. So if we were to go back 10 years and you say, I want a party hat on this dog. All right. You're going to look through your library. You're going to find a photo of a party hat. You're going to clip it out and you're going to manipulate it, and you're going to, make it so it blends in, so it looks like it's sitting on top of the dog. And depending on your skill, you could probably pull it off. Okay. And what were people saying back there? Well, there was no party hat on that dog. You're cheating. So it's the same argument, different technology. Okay. All right. It's just this time, we don't know what the source of that asset is. Okay. And we don't know the validity of that, or the legal validity of that asset. All right. So, but it does present a problem. Okay. Because now, how much, there's an old problem. It's called the see if I can remember. It's called the shipwrights problem or something like that. Okay, where you have a wooden ship, all right, a wooden warship, and it goes out to battle. And during the battle, it gets destroyed. It comes back into port, and they replace all the broken pieces. and it goes back out, and more pieces get blown off and broken. It comes back in. That after several battles, let's say 10 battles, everything's been replaced on the ship. Is that ship the same ship? Or is it a new ship? Okay. So we can kind of step into that problem here where we say, okay, how much of an image do we have to add AI assets to before it's no longer our image? All right. And I think that's where the true underlying problem is how much of the artist are we comfortable removing before we deem it not being the artist's work. And after all, when we are judging a competition, we are judging on the person's skill on a bunch of things, not just their ability to sit on a keyboard and generate text to come up with some kind of image. Okay. And that's where the generative AI battle comes in. All right. If somebody can whip out 100% brand new image and they can call it art. All right. And I've seen it on Facebook, and it pisses me off as an artist. It pisses me off when somebody brags about, look what I did. Ain't I so creative? And everybody's like, oh my God, you're so wonderful. You're so talented. And I'm thinking to myself, really? You typed 5 words into a computer and you let the computer do that. It's frustrating. It is. Okay. But is there a place for it? Absolutely. All right. I went on Dolly and I did a search with various, I didn't generate the images. I wasn't about to pay some, generative AI system. I'm not going to contribute to their thievery. All right. But out of curiosity, I typed in a couple keywords with photo background, and it came up with a whole bunch of images. And I'll be honest, a lot of them were mind-blowing, beautiful background images that you can use for a background. All right. And curiosity got the best of me and says, how simple would it be to photograph somebody on a green screen or a white screen or a blue screen or whatever it is and superimpose them over that background? All right. And it's not difficult at all. Anybody with a modicum of ability in Photoshop can match an image that they shoot to the background, right? And make it look decent. All right. The only problem is that currently the level of quality that these generative AI softwares can do is low quality. It's not even HD quality. All right. So you have a very low pixel count. All right. But fortunately, hey, we got things that can, supersize something without losing the quality. So you go into Giga Blaster and upscalers and this, that, and the other, and you can take that low resolution image, double its size to a good workable size, and voila, you got yourself a nice digital background. All right. Anybody can do it. Anybody with, any small amount of talent can do it. Okay. So it begs the question is how much of that image can I artificially create before it's deemed no longer my image? And it's not so much, a question that can be answered by a percentage, because it is definitely a very much a social structure question. All right. And everybody's going to have a different answer. Some people says, hey, if you put anything that's AI generated into your image, it completely disqualifies you. All right. Or somebody says, well, yeah, it's only a background. You did the photography of the main subject. That's fair game. All right. So it's very subjective. And, it's going to beg the question with some of these clubs is like, okay, and they're going to have to answer it. What is the cutoff? What is the cutoff? Currently, the consensus pretty much across the board is if you use an AI element in your image, you must declare it. All right. Which is kind of funny because Adobe stock that use its own stock archive to train their AI model are now telling those very same contributors that if you use AI, you need to tell us. Oh my God, talk about pouring salt into the wound kind of thing. Hey, we used your work to generate our models for this generative AI, but now if you're going to use it, you got to tell us that you're using it so that we can disqualify it. Go figure. So anyway, I have a feeling that the clubs do need to come together and have a serious discussion and an objective discussion. All right, because I've seen this in the past where we have a bunch of old fuddy-duddies that says, well, we used to do it this way and that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, without embracing the new technology. And I've seen a lot of those fuddy-duddies go out of business because they were inflexible with the new technology. All right, because that's the way it used to be. Yeah, that's the way it used to be. It's not the way it is now. You need to change with the times. You need to look at it subjectively and then make new rules so that you can move forward where everybody understands what those rules are. So that's...
I knew, going way back, I knew somebody who was terrific with photo printing, and he worked for a photo printing company that went out of business. This was all analog. And they went out of business during the analog days. And he could have made a lot of money if he had thought, well, what can I do for digital?
Yeah.
He was extremely knowledgeable, and it's just too bad he refused to embrace digital.
Yeah. Kodak's the same thing. Kodak refused to change with the times, which is bizarre because Kodak is the one that developed the first digital camera, the first working digital camera, I should say. All right. They went under because they refused to see the future. So, but yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see what occurs with AI. Like I said, I came to change my mind. All right. Like I said, I came into this whole AI discussion, the controversy, looking at it through the eyes of an artist who I paint, I draw. I was a tattoo artist for 24 years, a lot of handwork. So for somebody who is a keyboard warrior to type out a few words, come out with this beautiful digital painting that blows anything that I could ever do out of the water, and then claim it as their work just irked me, But once the AI in Photoshop came out of beta and became part of the standard package, because I don't like working with beta programs. Okay. And I started playing around with this, not just playing around just for ha-has, but seeing how I could incorporate it into my work and seeing exactly where it can fit in, because it cuts my working time by a lot. All right. I think I shared it last time where I took a client, an image that I was working for a client, simple, products on a white background. And I had to put some tape on a piece of equipment so it won't go all over the place. And I needed to remove that piece of tape in post. I tried it two ways. I tried it the manual way that I used to do it with, sourcing different parts of the image in order to repair the area where the tape is, okay, which took me a good 15 minutes to do. All right. And I said, just for shits and giggles, let me try this, Firefly. I drew a nice little marquee around the tape. I didn't even have to type anything in. I left it blank. All I did was say generate, and it gave me 3 choices. And the first choice was dead on. And it took me 5 seconds. Literally 5 seconds. Ask me if I'm not going to use that tool to work on my client's stuff. All right. 1, because it's doing what I would normally do by hand to begin with. 2, it's taking assets that are already in the image. It's not sourcing something new. It's taking what's already there and applying it back into my image. All right. And 3, what 3, makes my time go faster. Makes my time go faster. And time is money. And if anybody looks at it, you can never ever tell that anything was done, which is exactly what retouching should be. All right. You should not, that kind of retouching, you should not see the retoucher's hand. And if you look at it, you will never know that there was a piece of tape holding this whole thing together. All right. And the client's happy. The client doesn't care what you do to that image to get them the image that they require. They just know that you have the expertise to give them what they need. They don't care how you do it. All right. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Giving your client what they need. All right. So that's talking from the commercial photographer point of view. Okay. So let's look at it from the club point of view. All right. You want to earn merit points. So you're going to submit an image for competition. Well, right off the bat, you are limited to what you can, supply. There are rules. There are categories that you have to conform to. And within those categories, there are regulations that you have to meet. All right. And if you don't meet them, you get disqualified. So what are you going to do? Oh, they disqualified me because I put an animal in a landscape category. No. Because ultimately the judges don't care. They don't care. They just want to make sure that, is this image fit into the category? And does it meet these requirements? Okay. And then we're going to judge it based on those requirements. Hopefully. All right. Hopefully you get a judge that is very objective about, their judging criteria. All right. Not one of these judges that, I like this one, so I'm going to vote for it. Okay. So, so yeah, it's gonna, AI is going to change the landscape of photography in a big way, and it's just how we bend and flex to those changes that it's gonna ultimately come down to. So, all right, let's open it up for discussion. Bill, did you want to add anything? Did I forget to touch on anything that?
You basically discussed everything I agree with. The rules just have to be just like with anything else. The rule has to be, and hey, it can't be AI. I think the rules that we have now in North Haven.
Well,
Hold it a second. No, I
yeah,
take
yeah, yeah.
that back. We have that you can manipulate a picture a certain way, but I guess you would have to write in specifically what's allowed in AI and what isn't allowed in
Yeah,
AI.
yeah.
And
Well,
to be honest with you, that's up to the people who come up with the rules in the first place.
yeah, but in a club environment, the rules need to be fair across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a national organization like NCCC, it needs to trickle down and followed by all the clubs so that everybody is on the same level footing. All right. But yeah, we understand that the different categories have different requirements. So, for example, something that falls under journalism, you cannot have any AI at all. You cannot do any compositing at all, and you cannot do any creative edits at all. All you can do is normalize the image, and that's about it. Maybe do some cropping, but that's very specific to that category. Something like artistic portraiture. Oh my God. Open up the floodgates. You could do just about anything with that. Take your model, put them on a boat floating in the sky with the big moon, showering sparks down onto a reflective pool with mermaids swimming in it. Okay? None of that is based in reality, but it's all acceptable in that format. Okay? So now, since you have such a leeway for that particular category, where does AI fit into that category? Can I use it to generate the assets for the mermaids in the pool? Okay. Or do I need to photograph models looking like mermaids swimming in a pool? Okay. Or can I just source them from some stock site, as often is done? All right. A lot of those artistic composites, the photographer sources some materials from stock sites. Oh, I need a lamp. I don't have a lamp to take a photo of. I'll just go, to a stock site, or better still, I'll go to a free stock site like Unsplash or PX here. I'll do a little search for a lantern, and oh yeah, this one looks good. I'll use that. It's not even your photo. You're using somebody else's, free open source image for your composite, and it's often allowed. you know so yeah, the clubs need to, well, the club leaders need to really sit down soon, in my opinion, and hammer out these rules and make it fair. That's the key word. Make it fair. All right. Make it fair for the people who are doing their damnedest to be as creative as possible, and not have it overshadowed by somebody who, just type it in, and 5 minutes later, I got a beautiful piece of artwork that's going to blow everybody else's out of the water. That's not fair at all. you know. So, yeah, that's my 2 bits. All right, I hogged enough of the time. Anybody want to pitch in? Crickets? Okay. Hopefully that means I covered everything. Hopefully you now have something to think about. You know, if you've been on the fence about generative AI, you know, maybe look at it with a different set of eyes, and see what happens. You know, make your own opinion. Ultimately, it's your image. You do what you want with it. You know, and if you're going to be okay using generative AI to create that vision, who am I to tell you otherwise? Right? Okay. All right. Anyways, that's all I got to say on the subject. Heavy subject. It is. It really is.
It just amazed me that it came up in 3 photography groups. Actually, it came up in 2 photography groups where we were judges at, and now it's.
It should be coming in up in every photography group. They should all be talking about it. If they're not, they're just lying to themselves. They should be talking about AI and how to deal with it.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm just.
No, yeah, you know, I'm not a fan of like the generative AI like Mid-Journey and Dolly, you know, because I don't want to say it's cheating, but it is. It's cheating. You're cheating. You know, you're cheating the artists that put in their blood, sweat, and tears into learning the skills of illustration. You know, but then again, the flip side to that is the majority of the people that go for these things are the bottom dwellers. You know, the people that are not going to bother spending money. You know, you can say, "Oh, well, I'm a starving artist. I will do a piece of artwork for you for $10. I'll give it to you for $10." They'll still go to the generative AI and say, "Nah, it's okay. I'll just create my own." Those are the bottom dwellers. Okay, so you have to stop and separate what are the bottom dwellers and does it really affect me over, you know, what level is my work at, and am I comfortable competing against the bottom dwellers, or are the bottom dwellers moot point? They have no influence on me. I don't give a shit about the bottom dwellers. You know, and a lot of the, you know, the top tier professional photographers, they could care less about the bottom dwellers, all right, because they know their client base appreciates the kind of work that they do. All right, what they are offended by is the bottom dwellers that type in their name and say, make it in the, you know, in the style of, and then some artist's names, and it kicks out a piece of artwork that looks very much like that person's artwork. That, in my opinion, is theft, and that should be stopped. That should be stopped. I don't care how easily your computer can replicate somebody else's artwork. If somebody types in the style of, it should flag it and not do it. But that's me. You know, that's my opinion. Because that, in my opinion, is theft. So, okay. This time I'm definitely off my soapbox. Stop putting me back on the soapbox, Bill.
By the way, you weren't recording when we had the conversation, and seeing people listen to the video, maybe we should bring it up here.
No, I wasn't recording before. No.
No. I want to bring up the topic I originally.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I want it on record, so people can hear this. My frustration with all the new changes in Photoshop. Every time they add something, it either freezes up my computer or slows down my computer. And the reason why I was late tonight was because I saw this new thing for correcting lens blur. Well, let me try it. It froze my computer.
Yeah.
It took 10 minutes of my time.
Yeah.
Maybe 10. I think about 10 minutes of my time.
Yeah, but that's just a outdated technology issue. It's, it has nothing to do with what they put into a program. It's just that they're making the programs more complex, and more powerful, that it requires more powerful machinery behind it. There was a time when all we needed was that, nice little floppy disk to store our documents on, Not anymore. Now we have drives with terabytes of storage.
Well, here's something. Open source.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not done by people who are making a ton of money from Adobe, Microsoft, or whatever. But as you know, I do video, and sometimes video freezes up with software. Well, I found a really nice open source video software called Shotcut.
Yes.
SHOTCUT, and it takes me no time to do what I want to do.
Yep. Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good program. I like it. I've used it in the past myself. So open source software has a big following. They're very much the anti-establishmentarian side of the internet, of developers who say, screw the big companies, we're going to do this and we're going to release it for free just because we love what we do. And, so if you are of that mindset, I highly suggest that you at least go to their website and make a donation, because they do rely on donations to maintain their business. So they're not selling the software for the revenue. It's all on the goodness of the users' hearts to keep them afloat.
That I've paid for is Goldwave. That's an audio software. It allows me to record off the internet. Adobe doesn't allow it anymore, probably for copyright reasons.
Yeah.
But when I record stuff, it's to explain something, and I'm using the piece of audio as fair use, under fair use.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? That actually brings up a good point. That's a point of contention with me, is, who designated these companies to police, people's use of content? YouTube does it all the time. They put a lot of restrictions on what you can and cannot, upload. Obviously, I can see, certain social norms, who wants to see pornography or child abuse on a website like YouTube. But they got to the point where you can't mention certain keywords like death even though your channel is about reporting what's happening in Israel and the Gaza Strip, where people are dying left and right. You can't say they're dying. Really? Who made you the police on these matters? The censorship police. You know?
Well, you know what Facebook does? You know, there are fan sites for I Love Lucy, Jack Benny,
Mm-hmm.
Blue Bloods. Hogan's Heroes is one of them. And if somebody says a word that is used on Hogan's Heroes, that the word itself can be considered offensive.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because they think you're actually talking. So the
Yeah.
thing is, it's like, okay, use a different word to describe something that was in the script.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and that's because AI, there you go. AI monitors. They don't have real life people monitoring these things. They have, artificial intelligence moderating these streams, and they're given, like the old adage goes, garbage in, garbage out. Okay, they're given these keywords, and these artificial intelligence bots are not that intelligent. Contrary to what artificial intelligence means, they're not very intelligent. So they flag everything that it thinks is inappropriate. And whether it is or is not, it doesn't matter what context it's under, it's just going to flag it and penalize you. And, I've seen it on Facebook where, people get put in, Facebook jail.
Yeah.
For and oftentimes it's for something they don't even realize they did. They just got flagged with no explanation, which is, in my opinion, works against you, because if you're going to chastise something, all right, you're a parent. Your child just broke your best vase. Okay? If you just send them to the room without explaining to them why they're being punished, they're going to have no idea. All right? And they're likely to repeat that offense again, because they don't know that the reason they went to bed early was because they broke the vase and they should not do it again. All right? Facebook does the same thing. Oh, we're going to punish you, but we're not going to tell you why we're punishing you. We're just going to punish you. You figure it out. YouTube does the same thing. YouTube is probably the most horrendous social media site that does this, because it's very indiscriminate.
Well, I had one where I interviewed. In fact, you set up the interview for me. The guy who did Nana, hey, kids, goodbye. He died.
Gary, yeah.
Gary. Okay.
Mental block.
There's so many things I just can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was interviewing him.
He was a great guy.
I played a part of his song. I mean, it's his song. He was a guest on my show.
Yes.
And this is when YouTube used to put advertising only if you use copyrighted material. Now they put advertising on everything.
Yeah.
So they started flagging me for advertising. It's like, it's...
Yeah.
It's how Al Gore said he invented the internet?
Yeah.
You know how we know that Al Gore invented the internet? Because Facebook uses algorithms.
Oh, that's funny. I got to remember that one. That's great. Bob's holding up his phone to the... That's funny.
See, now, Bob is trying to tell us he's at the Golden Gate Bridge. We know he isn't at the Golden Gate Bridge.
Uh, yeah. He's videotaping us.
I don't think so. Oh, you know, Carol, I know now why you're not getting.
Is it copyrighted? Can I do it again?
Carol, I know
Actually, it
why
is.
You're not getting the copyrighted, I think. See, normally I log in as me and then I join the meeting. Today I just joined the meeting and my backgrounds aren't available to me. So you have to log in order for your backgrounds to show up.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good
Here,
to know.
watch me. Let me, here we are. Watch this. Start the video. Do you see? Now, the only thing that's available to me is either
Is the-
none
Or the
or
blur. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I log off and log back in as me and then join the meeting, then I have access to my.
Oh, that's good to know. I never knew that.
Mhm.
I know. Yeah, and it's funny because they just added a bunch. I was looking at this today. They have AI companion.
Yeah, I just saw that. It's like what?
Yeah, so I guess what it does is um it starts not recording but annotating everything that's spoken, so that if you miss something, you can go back to the annotation and you kind of read it to catch up. I don't know. I've seen some annotation that, you know, when you read, especially if like on YouTube, YouTube has that AI annotation that will live annotate whatever it's spoken. And of course, if something is not crystal clear, it's going to make up something that it thinks is what you said. And sometimes it has really hilarious results because you're hearing the audio and you're reading the text and the two are not jiving. And it's like, oh, that's not what they said. Or words that kind of sound alike, it'll put the wrong context to the word in there. It's funny. So yeah, AI has a long way to go. Long way to go.
Voicemail, I get transcriptions, and a lot of times it's wrong. I was looking for something that was really wrong, and I must have deleted it. Oh well.
Yeah.
A lot of times I get blank. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Bob, I just saw your chat, Bob. Oh, he just left. Oh, missed him. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, any last final thoughts on anything that we discussed? No? We're good? Okay. So this month is a long month. We got two more Mondays. I debated whether I should put in a Patreon only for this month, but unfortunately my schedule is starting to get a little tight. As some of you know, I work with the Connecticut Society of Santas. So I got a few things going on with them, so I don't want to kind of like overextend myself this month. So we got 2 Mondays, and then we'll see you in December. And in December, we'll be going over all the new things that are in. Oh no, I'm sorry, November.
Thank you.
See, I'm off. I am so off. We'll see you next month. There.
Gary DeCarlo.
DeCarlo, yes.
Yeah.
Gary DeCarlo, yes.
Yes.
So next month we're gonna get into all the new things that Lightroom put into this latest update. And let me tell you, The point color, if you haven't played with it, is amazing. Amazing. If you like color, you got to play with this tool. It's
Doc,
just,
what is
it's
it? What is it like? Is
phenomenal.
it like the color selector in Photoshop? Because I just saw it today, and I'm like,
No, it's a whole new different way of looking at color manipulation. So it's your color grading. Well, it's not really color grading. It's your color correction on steroids.
okay,
All right. It just adds more functionality and more precise control over your color manipulation. It's, let me tell you, whoever came up with this, brilliant, brilliant. I don't think, well, for simple manipulations, I'll use the old one, but for like the photos from Tucker's Ridge over the weekend, I'm definitely going to play with that tool because I think I can really pull some colors out with this new tool. It's just amazing.
This is in Lightroom.
And
right?
in Lightroom and Adobe Camera Raw. Okay. So we'll definitely be digging well into that on the first Monday of next month. And then, of course, we'll discuss more of the AI stuff and a few other things in Photoshop the following week after that. Okay. In the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to contact me through Facebook, or you can email me, or if you have my phone number, you can call me if it's an emergency. I do. Oh, that's what I didn't do. Next weekend, I'm gonna be up in Meriden at Jafrida Park for a fall colors photo shoot. It's a quaint little park. It's small, easily accessible. Hopefully, we'll get some good colors. We got rained out Saturday, so the one at Tucker Ridge was on Sunday. Carol was there. Linda and her husband were there. And let me tell you, I've never been there before. The view was phenomenal. Oh, I have Lightroom is closed here. Let me. I was gonna say, let me pull up a picture, but I don't have Lightroom open.
I was at Jafrida Park today, and probably by Saturday it should really be done.
Oh.
There are some trees that have turned. Most of it has not turned yet. So maybe by the weekend.
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
I came on Sunday, but I couldn't get there at 2:00. I had some other appointments.
Oh.
So I did come, and I did see some views, but it was kind of rocky, so I was a little scared that I was gonna.
Oh, yeah. So there's two entrances to the park: the north entrance and a south entrance. And the overlook, what you're seeing here, it's from the north entrance, which is High Ridge Road. All right. It's definitely a little neighborhood access area. You have to, you're traveling in through people's houses to get to this. It's not like it's off a main road or anything. But this is the view. Look how gorgeous that is. Right up the Housatonic River Valley.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful view, and I did get a couple of.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
And it was bumpy, and I was a little scared if I fall.
Oh, yeah.
Behind me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I brought my wife with me. She's got 2 bad knees, so she took it very carefully. So I understand very much. So, but yeah, it's a great site. But if you're available next weekend And of course, it's going to be dependent on the weather, because when I left for work this morning, the first thing my wife said is, they're expecting rain next Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So again, we'll play it by ear. If it rains Saturday, then the rain date will be Sunday. But the nice thing about,
Sunday.
what's that?
At what time Sunday?
Same time, 2:00.
Okay.
But the nice thing about Jafrita Park, and Bill will back me up on this, is from the parking lot to the edge of the pond is very level. It's very easy walking. And last time I was there, there were a couple of picnic tables in that area. So, people are able to put their gear down and have a sit down if they wanted to.
Oh, so are we going to hike into the woods, or are we?
No, I was if you hike into the woods, you have to go, I don't know, it's not too far, maybe eighth of a mile. It opens up to a little swimming area.
Yeah, okay. You're talking about the left side of the reservoir, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The low side. All right. So when you walk into, if you want to take the trail is just overgrown by the trees, and it makes for a beautiful photo. All right.
Can I share? I want to show you some pictures.
Sure.
Today there. Hold on a second.
But it opens up to this little swimming area, and you're able to, as long as you're shooting towards the left, you'll be able to see the you'll be able to see the
Okay. This was on top of Lamentation Mountain. Of course, we're not going to be there. This is
let me
Chauncey Peak. This is on the left side. This is further in, so it's kind of green there. But this is overlooking from one of the places. Here we are. This is the other side of the reservoir.
Okay, I'm just seeing a bunch of thumbnails.
Why aren't you seeing the picture?
Because you shared your Explorer page, I think.
Oh, that's why. Okay, let's see if I can make this bigger.
If you're opening up in an image viewer, you're going to have to share the image viewer.
Okay, let's do that. Hold on a second. You know what? Let me share the whole desktop. It's not clean, but usually
Oh boy, there we go. Oh, it's not too bad. I've seen worse.
Okay. Do you see it?
Oh
now?
yeah.
Okay. This is Lamentation Mountain. And here we are there.
Nice.
And that's about maybe a mile on the right side.
Right.
This is up
Ooh,
on
nice.
I don't know where. Oh, that's the golf course. If you go, when you go into, when you go into the driveway for Giuffrida Park.
Yep.
You'll see on the left, before you get there, you'll see a restaurant, and behind the restaurant is this golf course.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and here's the other side of the.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right there. You can see the little swimming area.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little swimming area.
Oh, there we are. Hold it. Let me see if I can. There we are. There's a swimming area. Right
Yeah.
there. See the brown spot?
That's it.
There
That's
we
the
are.
little clearing.
Yep. And just tell everybody.
Yeah. If
I'll try to be there. Just tell everybody when you walk there, the tree roots are above the ground, so you got to look at the ground.
yes, that's true. You're right. Thank you for reminding me. Yes.
But as you can see, this tells you what Giuffrida Park looks like
Yeah.
now. The trees
So
are mostly green, but there are some spots of foliage.
yeah. So
And up,
as you Oh, that's
that's Castle Craig.
Yeah.
That's Castle Craig. Way over here is
Sleeping Giant. Yep.
And there's West Peak up there where the towers are. West Peak.
Yeah. All right. So from this image, if you go all the way to the left,
Mm-hmm.
all right, that's where the parking lot is, and that's pretty much, you know, the first view I was looking to get. Not necessarily
Let me go
thinking to hike.
let me go to, I think I still have it. Hold on a second. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah.
And so people can, let me come into my library here. And what year? I think it was the year before COVID. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me see. Hike, under hikes. Hold on a second. It was December.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I have a winter scene. Put it under hikes. Hold on a second. Hikes in December of 2019. Maybe it was 1201. No. And let me see. 1215. Oh, is this is G Freedom Park? Okay, let me share again. Share again. Oh, this is beautiful. Great, perfect. Share screen.
Okay.
And let me start with the parking lot. Here is, do you see the parking lot?
Yep.
Okay. We have people with these low cameras. These people are not technical, so I always have to upload their pictures. Okay, here we are. Here's the waterfall at the park.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's no water there.
Right.
No, this is raw stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say that didn't look like Jafrita because
No,
they don't have.
Hold on a second.
They just basically have a berm.
Here we are. Here, this is unprocessed. This particular one is unprocessed. But here's the park, at Giuffrida Park. You know, that's the reservoir up there, and that's the waterfall from the reservoir. And I have a nice snowy one someplace. Where we are. Okay, this is processed. This is the park. You have the parking lot to the left.
To the left, correct.
And then you have all of this, and a closer up. And that's before. There we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's on the high side. So
I have another snowy picture. Let's see. I had it on Facebook. Am I still sharing? I don't want to be sharing.
I believe you are, yes. So
No, you're not sharing, Bill. I can't
you.
see anything.
Hold on a second. Hopefully
okay. So
hopefully
this is the high side of Jafrita Park.
Okay, let me see what you're showing.
And this is where this is where you were standing way up there from some of those shots. So yeah, and
do this. Hold on.
here's another view. So this is the view from that little swimming area. So you can see that, you know, you can get some really nice shots. You can get some of the trees in the foreground to kind of frame it, like I did here. And, you know, this whole hillside. So on the other side of this hillside is an old quarry. And so this is the high side of the lake. I'm standing on the low side. So shooting across the lake like this, you're just going to see foliage all across, you know, your scene. And that's what attracts me to this particular location, because, you know, you can really grab some of those fall colors here. Here's another one looking.
I don't have it.
This is looking from like that waterfall area that Bill showed you earlier. This is looking, you can see the, oops. Will it let me draw? No, it won't let me draw. Okay. Right here is the beach. And then on the other side, way up top, are the that rock outcrop overlook that Bill showed you earlier. So, I think it's going to be a really, really beautiful. Here's a processed image back from 2015. My skills have grown incredibly since then. Look how green that is. I gotta revisit this. This is terrible. But this is looking back towards the waterfall. You can see in the middle there's that little pump house, and then the waterfall right there.
Thank you. This was helpful, so I can know what to expect and prepare accordingly.
Yeah. So, a fairly wide to normal lens will work really, really well.
I have more pictures from today that other people posted, including, hold on a second, let me share.
And of course, if if you're lucky enough to find, I don't know how mushrooms are this time of year, but this place was a treasure trove for mushrooms. So if that's your thing, definitely bring a close-up lens.
Okay, this is, I'll go through these quickly. Oh, here we are. This is this is on the left side, and this is past the swimming hole. Let's see. These are not my pictures. Here we are. This is the swimming hole. Here
yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, this isn't from the swimming hole. This is closer to the entrance.
Okay.
Yeah, this is closer to the entrance. As a matter of fact, I think right behind that spot is the picnic tables.
Okay.
Because the swimming hole is almost directly across from the outcrop. Ah, there you go. So
this is at Chauncey Peak.
Yeah.
Overlooking on the left side where we're going to be on Sunday, or I think it's going to be Sunday.
Yeah, I won't be climbing.
Okay. No, but this is we will be. Do you see the arrow?
Yep.
This is where we are going to be probably walking.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes. If you yeah. So the lake is kind of bean shaped. So from the parking area, you can get a good view, and then the lake kind of hooks to the right.
Okay. This is on the other side. All right. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. Somebody else. I didn't see these yet.
Yeah, there you go.
Jim W. posted this. Okay, here we are on Chauncey Peak looking down.
Yep.
In fact, isn't that the swimming area?
That's the swimming area, yeah.
Here we are.
Yep. And then so cool.
All righty.
Thanks for sharing those. Appreciate it.
I don't know what happened to my snow picture.
Thank you.
I
That's
took
all
a
right.
picture of the reservoir in the snow. In fact, I have a picture. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me do this. Let me come here.
Yeah, let me
GIU.
I'll wait till
Here
it's
we
up.
are. Let's see what I got here. Here we are. We got it.
Oh, the snowy ones. Okay.
This one is from on top of. There's a swimming hole. This was done in June of a different year. Okay, and let's do that. And let me come here. And here are my snow pictures. There we are. This is.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, what's that little hut? Oh, that's a little library. Okay.
Yes. And here's the board.
That's new.
Yeah, that's about 5 years old now.
Yeah.
That's been there about 5 years.
Yeah, I was there when 2014, 2015, something like that. Or was it 2015? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't there in 2015.
Yeah. So
and here we are at the beginning of the reservoir.
Yeah. See, look at that view. That's awesome. That's awesome. So imagine that whole hillside just covered with different colored leaves. I think think we'll get some good
And
shots.
let's see, what else is here? Frida. I thought I had more than this. Give me a second. Okay, I do have more than this. Oh, here we are. Here we are. Here's summer. And this is what I have in, let's do this. This is in summer. Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay. That's unprocessed.
Yeah.
And this is before I knew better. You see the echoes here?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I did the toning and all that.
Yeah.
There we are. This is in summer. I think this is it. Yeah, that's an unprocessed.
Yeah.
And there we are. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys. So that's next weekend, Saturday at 2:00. If it rains, it'll be Sunday at 2:00. And hopefully we'll see you. And Carol will be closer to your house. Not by much, but a little closer.
And it'll be I will be very close because I have to be at lunch at nearby. So I can be there at 2.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Good.
Cool. And Janine, hopefully we'll see you there too as well.
Hopefully, I'm planning on it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we definitely gone well over our time, but I thank you for hanging out with me.
Thank you. Doug.
We'll see you. We'll see you next weekend at Jafrida Park. If not,
Yes.
we'll see you back here at the beginning of next month, and we'll be covering all kinds of goodies from Lightroom. So
Perfect.
stand by for that. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you, and we'll see you whenever.
Okay. Thanks, Doug.
All right.
Bye-bye. Okay,
Good night.
bye.
Thank you for watching Learning Photography with Duck. Brought to you in association with Milford Photo, your local full-service camera store. Located in downtown Milford, Connecticut, Milford Photo offers you a personalized shopping experience. From the latest camera gear to printing and framing services. And, of course, educational workshops to teach you the finer aspects of photography. Don't forget to tell them Duck sent you.